Hello, patrons. All right, today is March 14, 2022. All right, today we're going to be talking about analyzing or looking at a simple real estate deal. So estimating cash flow in a simple real estate deal. I'm going to give you a video walkthrough about that. Last week we talked about debt to income ratio and factoring that as you think of scaling your real estate operation. And we're going to see how that plays over a year, even as you're analyzing like your first deal. For instance, you're like looking at buying your first property with the intention to do like a house hacking setup. So you're going to cash flow it. Then maybe like after a year or so convert it to like an investment property. So we're going to look at how you can analyze and consider such deals. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so today we're going to talk about like analyzing and looking at real estate deals. So I have a calculator here that I use, mortgagecalculator.org. I think is just very convenient. And let's say you're John, right? So in this simple deal, we're going to look at a case of John. John is a software engineer in Atlanta, Georgia, home for sale, Zillow. So we're gonna look at a home for sale. Yeah, software engineer in Atlanta. Let's say John is making $120,000 a year. So let's just make that a gross income of $10,000 a month, right? Just gonna do that. Try to be realistic because I do have friends who are software engineers who make around that amount a year in Atlanta. So let's say John is looking for a house, okay? And I look at I'm gonna keep it simple. Look at like houses for sale in Atlanta, year right here. For the 4-bedroom, 3-bath, almost 1,600 square feet. For going for 295. Here are some others going for 285, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, to 300. Here's a 3-bedroom, 4-bath for almost 500K, 4-bedroom, 3-bath. So let's do this. We're gonna pick 2 properties to analyze. So let's say we want to analyze these 2 properties actually. I don't know, I just like these because they seem to be around what we're seeing here in Atlanta. So let's say we're gonna look at first a 4-bedroom for 338 and a 3-bedroom for 499K. And let's just see what we can find. Let's say we're going to analyze these 2 deals. All right, the first thing I want to do is go to AirBNB. And we've covered this before when we're looking at like different things you use to estimate cash flow. For this video, I do not have the full package for AirBNB anymore because basically I haven't bought a property in a while, so I don't have the full package. But I just want to let patrons know that also you can technically buy a full package and actually look at what on average like the property could generate for you. So let's look at this deal first. So we have 1146. Ira Streets, is that Ira Street, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 303310. There we go, it says this one. Okay. So looking at this property, boom, boom, boom. Property assumes a 68% occupancy rate, average daily rate of $281 a day. Okay. So looking at that, we can just do a quick 68% occupancy, right? Times there are 31 days in a month, times the average daily rate is 281. Okay. 281, and so that's about 5,900 bucks, right? Typically I like to be at 50% occupancy, but 68 is fine for this initial one. And then you obviously multiply that by, if you were to buy this house, again, keeping in mind house hacking, because again, like I said, you're gonna buy a 4-bedroom house, but house hacking means you're gonna occupy 1 bedroom and rent out the other 3. So you got to take the ratio of 3/4. So you're only gonna rent 3/4 of that, right? And let's see potentially what it's estimated. So AirBNB is essentially saying that off that house, you should be able to make of 3 bedrooms about 4.4K a month gross, obviously, right? So you divide that by 3, so that means each bedroom is gonna make you about 1480 a month, and that's about what we're seeing. So I already saw like even patrons in Atlanta. Yeah, we're in Atlanta for like if you're house hacking, you can estimate you can make anywhere from 1,100 to 1,400, maybe even 1,500 bucks per bedroom. So that's right in line with what we're expecting, right? So this for the first property. So about, it says 1,400, but let's even use the lower end. Let's even say 1,200, right? 1,200 per bedroom, right? So if you're gonna do 1,200 per bedroom, essentially we're estimating roughly from this initial estimate about 3,600 bucks per month renting only 3 of the 4 bedrooms. Now let's look at this, do the same now for this one. So we're gonna go back to AirBNB, do 1883. 1883 Brewer Boulevard, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. Yep. Boulevard, Southwest Land Road. All right. So looking at this property, this one is saying, it seems like it's been renovated a bit, but compared to this from just initial observation, but this one is saying about 54% occupancy. Interesting. That's about right. 54% occupancy. Times 31 days again, times you're gonna be making 220 and similar, but now this time this is a 3-bedroom house, right? It's a 3-bedroom house. So and also that's another reason, if you're ever wondering why the daily rates was lower in this one, is because typically the 4-bedroom house, you can probably rent up to 8 to 10 people. The 3-bedroom house can rent up to 6 to 8 people. So you can rent to a smaller amount of people, obviously, because there's less rooms. But anyways, going back to our calculation, we're gonna multiply by 220, right? 5.54 times 30 times 220, but this time I'm gonna say 2/3 because this time you're renting 2 out of 3 bedrooms. And this is estimating that you make roughly 24.55, or divided by 2, about 1,200 per bedroom once again. So again, we can estimate basically, point is, which is in line. I could have almost told you that before even doing the numbers, but I want to walk you guys through how you would estimate these numbers. But basically what we're seeing is that from these 2 bedrooms, this one is saying closer to 1,400, this one is saying closer to 1,200. But the point is, you're seeing that you can rent each bedroom from anywhere from 1,200 to, from 1,400 to 1,200 bucks, right? So we have our numbers that we need doing pad splitting. And if you ever in doubt, also another thing I mentioned when you're estimating cash flow, you can always go to AirBNB.com, right? You can say, another way to also confirm, you can say 3031010 is the location, right? You want to check in, let's say if I wanted to rent for the whole of April, just 1 guest, right? I'm renting 1 bedroom, or maybe you can save 2 guests, right? Let's see what the properties are saying. And specifically, also, I like this because now Airbnb can filter. You want to rent a private room. So now we're just going to filter it down to see what the private rooms are saying. So you can see now that, why is it oh, my apologies. This is pulling up Orange County. Atlanta, Georgia, 30. What's the zip code again? 30310. 30310. Okay. All right. Search. Perfect. So just again, I put this location, which is the zip code where we're looking, checking in April 1st, checking out April 30th. I want 2 guests. So just to show people once again. And yeah, so that's about right. So you're seeing that their bedrooms going out for like $1,100, $1,300, $1,100, $1,455, $1,740, $1,400. So our estimates were, again, these are just to give you an idea of like how roughly you are, or how rough away you were from what others are renting. You can see your competitors are right there in line about renting individual bedrooms for about anywhere from 1,400, as low as the lowest I'm seeing right here now is about $987, so $1,000. So in essence, that's confirmation that our estimates about $1,400 and $1,200 were right. So now going back to the case, let's say this is Devin or whoever we chose his name to be. Devin is making $120,000 a year. At that income rate, you're probably netting. Now I'm gonna walk you guys through first something. This is what I personally like to tell guests. We'll see that as well. This is something I've said, okay, based on your net income. So that income, you're probably netting like 70%. So netting like take home pay. So you're taking 84,000 divided by 12. So you're netting like, so rather that while your gross pay is about 10 grand a month, you're probably netting around $7,000 a month, right? So $7,000 a month. Now, a couple of things. I always tell producers, just my personal metric. When it comes to your mortgage, especially as you're shopping for your primary residence, ideally, you don't want your mortgage to exceed 35% your net pay. So 35%, so 30 to 35% is a sweet range. So 30 to 35%, because if we go back to our budgeting, when we talk about budgeting on the Patreon, remember for your necessities, which includes your mortgage and your living expenses, the total should be 45%. And of that 45%, 35% should be going towards your mortgage and house payments, and then maybe 10% for other necessities. So, okay, so keeping that in mind, so we're saying ideally I don't want this patron's or Devin's mortgage to exceed 1224.50. So let's see what his mortgage would be realistically. So this is 338,300. Let's look at the first property. Okay. 330,300. All right. Down payment with conventional loans now you can do as little as 3% down payments. Interest rate here, I think it's about 4% today, but let's just say 3.8, let's just say 4% to be on the safe side. Property taxes I know is about 1%, but if you don't know, you can just simply say average property taxes, Georgia, and what was the zip code again? 30310. 30310. I can see that the median will say no. Come on. I was hoping it'll just give me, you know what? We'll just use this estimate. Average property tax is about 1%. The average effective property tax rate in Georgia is about 27. Let's just say 1%. So I knew that, but like I'm just saying, you can just Google it. So 1% about 330. So that's about 3,400. Let's just say 3,400. Okay. And PMI 0.5%. Home insurance $1,000 about right. HOA. Let's just say the HOA is in this place is 150. Actually, you can check it. You can check it as HOA actually. So let's check it as HOA. We're gonna scroll down. That's why I like Zillow. Zillow's actually tell you if your property has HOA or not. It is gonna be right. See more for facts and features. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. Has HOA? No. No HOA. Boom. All right. Cool. So it'll be 0. All right. And then we calculate. We see his mortgage is about $2,000. So perfect. So in a case like this, this is $2,000, right? So about 2070. Now this is how we estimate like how much it will generate from cash flow from this property. So we know now that his mortgage, including taxes and everything, is about $2,000. So for a 4-bedroom house, you can always Google this again, but I'll say for 4-bedroom in Atlanta, utilities are probably about $300, $350, right? So with that, and then so 2,070 plus 300. Remember, we said the property with cash flow anywhere from 1,200. So let's use the first scenario. We say $1,200. So 1,200 times 3 per bedroom. That will bring a monthly cash flow about 1,230. But let's say actually what we estimate was 1,400. So that means this property again 1,400 times the 3 bedrooms you'd be renting because it's a 4-bedroom house. You will occupy 1 bedroom, ideally the master's bedroom, and you rent out the other 3. So again, I'll bring this is your rent generated. This is your mortgage, escrow, plus your utilities, and brings your cash flow to 1,830 a month. Perfect. So using that now, we estimate our cash on cash return. So now, even though, okay, cash on cash returns is your net yearly cash flow. So that 1,830 a month times 12, we annualize it, divided by, remember, everyone talked about cash on cash returns. You take the purchase price of the home, which is 338,300. And even though we are doing only a 3% down payment, you always want to estimate this using a 25% down payment when you're doing these numbers, because you want to be on the safe side. Because if you think about it, a 3% down payment puts your cash on cash returns at like 216%, but a down payment is too little, right? You want to estimate this as if you were buying an investment property, which typically requires 25% down payment. So now you see your cash on cash returns here is about 26%. Perfect. Because again, the metrics we typically use for cash on cash returns is you want to be targeting at least 15%. So this puts you at 26%. And even to make things even a bit juicier, after a year, for instance, right? After a year, this is the important, actually, this is the number that is more relevant. After a year, you move out. Now, after you move out and turn to an investment property, you'll be able to rent that 4th bedroom. So for instance, my first property that I bought, I occupied the master's bedroom. Then when I moved out from Charlotte here to Atlanta, now I'm renting that room. So now because we have to cash flow that property, that'll be 1,400 times 4 now because you're renting all 4 bedrooms. And let's say the additional room you're renting adds a marginal $80 to utilities. So that will put you now at really about $3,150 that you'll be cash flowing. So for Devin, that is $3,150 per month times 12, right? Divided still by the 25% down payment, so 25% of the purchase price. And you see now this is the actual cash on cash returns, which is the things I really love about short-term rentals, specifically this pad splitting strategy, because you can get some really juicy cash on cash returns. And here's an example where we actually be looking at 45%. And now specifically with Devin, so this is great. And this, the reason why I do this, first of all, is because if your mortgage payment is less than 35%, right? 35% of your net monthly payments. So in this case, you see the payment was 120K. So right, it's 120K divided by 12, that gives the monthly payment about 10 grand, right? So you have like 10 grand, right? And then you multiply that by 70%. 70% is what would be the net payment we're estimating, which is about 7,000. So 7,000 again, by 35%, which is how we got that 2,450. So if your mortgage payment is less than 35% of your net monthly payments, you tend to fall within the DTI limits for most conventional banks for conventional loans. So for instance, when you're looking at banks, what they'll take is they'll take your gross monthly income. So in the case of Devin, that'll be 12,000, 220,000 a year, which is 10,000 a month. And what they want to see is make sure that when they take 45% of your gross monthly income, your mortgage payment is less than that. Because if you Google it now, the conventional loan DTI limit, which we showed last week, excuse me, DTI, which we showed last week, is about 45%. So basically, what, again, just to reiterate, take 45% of your gross monthly income. In this case, that'll be 10 grand. That's 4,500. So again, provided that that falls in line, you'll be fine. So that's how we're again factoring DTI into the conversation to ensure that your DTI, one, keep in mind that your DTI needs to stay below this limit. Two, again, keep in mind DTI is not just mortgage. They'll also factor in your mortgage and factor in student loans and other recurring debts that you have, which is why it's important to keep your debts to a limit, especially before you buy your first property. Because for instance, if Devin, for instance, okay, in this case, right, taking out 45% of 10 grand, which is 4,500. But if Devin were to have like a $3,000 a month debt payment for whatever reason, whether it's a hospital bill or something, then I will automatically disqualify him from qualifying for this loan. So as you can imagine, just for the sake of time, I want to be mindful of time. As you can, I can already tell you now, this would be a poorer deal. The more expensive property is less bedrooms, so it doesn't cash flow as much. So the cash on cash returns will be lower because it doesn't cash flow as much, one. Also, when you look at the denominator in cash on cash returns, you need a higher down payment because it's a more expensive property. And so it's like, this is already a better deal. And of course, your mortgage payment is higher too because it's a more expensive property. So that even further affects your cash flow. So this is definitely a much better deal. But if you feel free to just watch the video again, look at what we did for this. And hey, you can do it as practice or as an example to do the same deal for Devin, for this property, and see what you get, what the cash on cash returns you get. So yeah, I'm going to stop sharing. With that, we're signing out. That was just a quick video of walking through how to estimate a simple real estate deal, looking at the cash on cash returns as our metric, which of course we've discussed previously. I'll put the links to all that in the description. And yeah, y'all have a blessed day. Take care.